you can call me Mike, you can call me teacher, or you can call me Teacher Mike. Why do you call yourself Teacher Mike? Shouldn't it be Mr. last name? I'm Teacher Mike. I help adults like you learn real English that they can use in their daily lives. Today we are talking about Mr., Mrs., Miss, and Ms. How to address your teachers when speaking English, and why I call myself Teacher Mike. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I already have one video about how to address women in English, and one video about how to address your teachers in English. However, those videos are a bit old and they don't really answer the question of why I call myself Teacher Mike. So today, we are talking about all of those things in one video. And this video is going to be a bit long, so please remember that you don't need to watch the video. You can just listen to it while you work, drive, cook, exercise, or whatever it is that you might be doing. First things first, there isn't one correct way to address your teachers in English. There are some ways to address your teachers that are more common in English-speaking countries like the US and the UK, but that does not mean that those are the only correct ways to address your teachers in English. It just means that those are the ones that native English speakers usually use in English-speaking countries. It doesn't mean that other ways are wrong. So, how do we usually address teachers in the US? When we are children, we usually call them Mr., Mrs., Miss, or Ms. plus their last name. Mr. is used for men. Mrs. is traditionally used for married women. Miss is traditionally used for young, unmarried women. And Ms. is a more modern way of addressing all women, without worrying about whether they are old, young, married, or unmarried. If someone asks you to use one of these when speaking with them, this basically means that they think that they are important, and you two are not equals in the relationship. So we use these with school teachers to remind the children that the teachers are important older people who they need to listen to and give respect to, not friends or family. Then, in college, we usually call our professors Professor, Professor last name, Doctor last name, or their first name. But this isn't something that you need to worry about because your professor will tell you what they want you to call them. And this is true in all situations. People will usually tell you what they want you to call them. And if they don't tell you, you can ask them. You can ask them either, "How should I address you?" or "How do you prefer to be addressed?" If you have a new manager, Sarah Smith, and she's a woman, and you are not sure whether you should call her Sarah, Mrs. Smith, Miss Smith, or Ms. Smith, just ask her, "How should I address you?" Asking this question and showing that you genuinely care about how they want to be addressed is much more respectful than assuming that they want you to use Mr. or Mrs., which they might not like. So, if teachers in English-speaking countries don't usually go by teacher or their first name, why do I go by Teacher Mike? To explain this, I'm going to tell you a very short story about my experience as an English teacher. When I was 22 years old, after graduating from college, I got certified to teach English as a foreign language. Then I spent the next 10 years living in Thailand, where I worked full-time teaching adults to speak English in language centers, large companies, and hotels. There are 4 important things that I want you to notice here. 1. I started teaching when I was 22 years old. 2. I was never a school teacher. 3. All of my students were adults. And 4. I wasn't working in an English-speaking country. So I was not a school teacher. My students were not children. For the first 5 years, most of my students were older than me, and I wasn't working in the United States. Therefore, it didn't make sense for me to ask my students to address me the same way that school children address their school teachers in the United States. So instead, I let them address me the way that they traditionally address their teachers. I let them call me teacher or Teacher Mike. But now that I'm in the US and I'm 12 years older, shouldn't I ask people to call me Mr. now? Well, again, I'm not a school teacher, and you are not children. We are all adults, and we are all equal here. So there is no reason for you to call me Mr. Second, even though I am now 34 years old, about 50% of my followers on social media are still older than me, and asking a bunch of people who are older than me to call me Mr. would be ridiculous. And finally, hundreds of thousands of my followers live in countries where it is normal to call your teacher, teacher. If it's what I am used to, and it is what many of you are used to, I don't see any reason to change it. Also, please remember that if you are comfortable doing so, it's fine for you to just call me Mike. You can call me Mike, you can call me Teacher Mike, or you can call me teacher. But please don't call me bro or sir. Bro is not appropriate because it is very informal and it is mostly used by close friends. This word is not appropriate to use when talking to your teacher, your boss, or your coworkers. And sir is the opposite. Sir makes me uncomfortable because it is too formal. So again, you can call me Mike, you can call me teacher, or you can call me Teacher Mike. But the 2 main things that I want you to remember today are, 1, there is not one correct way to address your teachers in English. And 2, if you're not sure how to address someone, ask them how they prefer to be addressed. If you found this video helpful and would like to help support my channel, please, please, please don't forget to give this video a like and leave a comment. Doing this both really helps my channel and it helps other English learners like you because it tells them that this is a good video to watch. That's all for today. Thank you for watching.